Well, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John with Flippin' Ain't Easy, and today I'm just out here doing my thing in the garage. It's been a very hectic week, guys. That's just to say it lightly. You know, I love having my friends come into town. I got Mike Camparelli, and then when people come into town, then Biscuit Butt will make will grace us with his presence, right? So even though he lives on the other side of town, maybe 25 miles away, which isn't that far, he doesn't really interact too much until we have company come out. So then, you know, he came over with Mike, and I give him, he knows I feel this way. I give him crap about it because it's like, come on, man, I'm only 25 miles away. If no one ever came to town, I mean, I'm still here. So it's the importance of having networking and people in your life that do similar things than what you do. I think that we really need to not take for granted. That said, I'm just out here and I'm doing my thing. Here's some, oh, what's that? I don't really deal with clothing too much, but got some of these women's shark skin. I guess they're based in Australia, right? And these are some like surf shorts and all that. And these came in liquidation. I'm not sure what I got these for. I think maybe only a few bucks, but I know they sell for like 30, 40, 50 bucks. And these are in great shape. I'm just simply, for whatever reason, I mean, as soon as you take these things out of the packaging, they get like random like lint on it. Black is just so easy to pick up lint. So I'm not a clothing seller by any means. These are new tags. Right? They have the tag still on them, the shark skin tag. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do my flat lay. I'm a big believer in flat lay when you're doing your clothing. And again, a caveat is I'm not a clothing seller, but I do look at other people's listings, look at other stores. I do check out stores. I mean, if you have a mannequin, by all means, use it if you can make it look right, make it look natural. But short of that, short of investing in a mannequin, and I've done that before, it's kind of a pain in the butt. You got to go on and fit it on the mannequin. You know, they might be doing one of these things, and you got to put the clothing on the mannequin. So it's kind of a pain. The fingers and stuff get in the way when you're trying to put the clothing on it. It's like, okay, I'd rather just do flat lay. If I had to say the best way, this is from a non-clothing seller, the best way professional wise, as far as getting your clothing to look professional, I'd say would be flat lay. And so I'm going through, well, the tough thing is with the lighting that we have here, it makes, even though, you know, you could say, well, just change your lighting settings on your phone, I can darken it, right? Because I usually have it light like a plus 0.7 on the iPhone. So the way you do this is you go to, so you're in your photo screen. You guys have the iPhone, right? So you see this little arrow right here. You click on that arrow and it'll drop down a bunch of settings. You see that on the bottom, which says 1.1. Always use 1.1 for your photos if you can. And then you see the plus next to it. That's your exposure. And generally it's at 0 by default. But if you want lighter looking photos, I put 0.07. And when I'm dealing with black, though, it's something I need to bring it back down to 0. I find that it just lightens it too much and it looks more charcoal gray. And I don't want charcoal gray. I want the natural color that it is. I don't want an inad. I don't like inads. In fact, I mean, you can say that inads are part of the game, and they are, right? Inads are part of the game. You can't let them discourage you by any means. Inads, you know, whether they're real or not, true or not. Heck, even just returns on the face. You know, someone says I don't like the item. It's sort of a disappointment. I mean, look, you had a sale, and you just want it to be gone. You don't want that thing back unless you're a collector, I guess, and you're like, okay, fine, if you don't want it, I'll keep it. So, by the way, your lint roller is take a piece of tape, put it between your fingers, and that thing will roll, and it'll pick up as it goes. So you don't need to buy a lint roller unless you like them. But returns, guys, I gotta tell you, we had probably a record number of returns. Now, we've said before, returns are a symptom of what? Good sales. So we had a ton of returns. I mean, a ton of returns. Some, just didn't fit or just didn't like it, whatever. And others was a problem. And it's like, wow, it's disappointing. One guy bought this item from me, and of course, a lot of the things that I sell, I can't test. I got to do a visual inspection. Sometimes I can't even power it on because maybe it's a hardwired thing that needs to be hardwired into something before you can actually use it. And because I don't have that thing that it gets hardwired into, then of course there's no way to test it. It's not even possible. I think one was like this hardwired car charger thing. That's what it looked like for like a Cadillac Escalade or something. And it's like, okay, it looks great. Packaging looks great. It's the only thing I can do is evaluate it. And I listed it, and the guy's like, dude, this thing will work. And I had to pay for installation and all this stuff, and you got to send me that money right away because I want my money back. And it's like, no, it don't work that way. Unfortunately, this happened to you, but we don't cover for installation. I mean, that's crazy. But maybe what's weird about that though is I never got a return on that. Now, of course, it's probably going to roll in now that I mentioned it. But that one, it's like they sent me a message. They said, hey, I had to install this thing. Had to pay for it to get installed. Thing doesn't work, and I want my money back. And I said, well, sorry, man. We're glad to get you a return label because the return labels are free with eBay Motors. Heck, most of my returns now are free anyway. So send it back, and we'll unwind this thing, and crickets. Now, it's only been a little more than a day, but it's like, why wouldn't you come back in and open the return? Shakedown, maybe? Maybe they've said, you know what, let's see if we can get this person to give us our money back like we were able to on the last person we told this to. Maybe we can get the item for free. I even had one time somebody send me a thing saying something similar, like it was a valve, right? A valve that came with a faucet set. Everything checked out, looked great, right? And it looked brand new. And I would only assume that it was brand new. It was still in it had all the internal packaging, all the parts were sealed away, and it was just simply an open box item. And I get this nastygram saying, and it shows it installed, behind the drywall, this valve. And he said that he turned it on, and it caused a huge flood in his house. It's like, well, you turn it on, why are you walking away from that area? He said that he's going to send me back the item, and he's going to send a bill. So I'm like, well, you can send whatever you want, but you do put in the listing, like a lot of our listings we put, should be installed professionally, just kind of a caveat. All these weekend warriors, they think that they're going to be able to get in there and do as good of a job as someone that does it every day. They don't want to pay, and they run into problems. I got to tell you guys, no matter where you buy your stuff from as a buyer, right? You can go directly to Home Depot, you can go to Walmart, you can go to all these places. It doesn't guarantee you that the item's going to be faulty or broken, right? There's a chance. That's why you see Walmart has a lot of returns. And that's why you get when you get these pallets from Walmart and all these other places that there's an item that looks perfectly fine and it might be defective. So now, poly mailers, see that item that I just showed you? Nice, clean poly mailer, got the tag that's attached. It's there so I can see, oh, this is that shark skin. So I'm going to get this thing listed up on my second account, because the second account we have attached to Poshmark and Mercari through Crosslisting, and that's kind of a way to get out in front of a lot of these cross-listed programs. There's another one that just launched, not Josh's. There's another one that just launched with another pretty large influencer in the space, and it's like, okay, 50 cents. I mean, the other one that launched before Josh's was 50 cents. I haven't even heard of that anymore. I'm not going to drop AI lister names, but to me, 50 cents per listing seems really just too much. I know that it costs money for these companies to send the data over to AI. Because I investigated it. For every request, it's like a half a cent or something ridiculously low like that. Now I've spoken to Josh about it. You know, he has a little bit different numbers. I don't know, maybe there's a package, but according to SuperGrok, to do my own little program running in the background, it's not something I could put out for commercial use, but I could say have an AI sort of VA running in the background after about a week or two of like programming, like entering in all the values that AI tells me to, and eventually it'll be a finished product. And that would run through ChatGPT like a half a cent or something ridiculously low like that for every time I have it search for, data, as like if I'm doing a listing with a photo or two, And I don't know, maybe it's multiple searches, multiple photos. So if I put in 6 photos, it's like 3 cents. I don't know. I'm not sure quite how that works, but 50 cents is obscene. We complain about eBay. We complain about eBay being greedy, right? But if you're paying 50 cents, I mean, that's kind of greedy. That's taking advantage. That's taking advantage of the fact that there's people out there who don't want to list. Okay? That's just taking advantage of people. Now, you could say, okay, how's this any different than if you go to a yard sale and, get that item that they advertise for $10. If this drill, they want to advertise it for $10. And I come back and say, nah, it's not Milwaukee. It looks like Milwaukee, but it's not Milwaukee. Hell, I don't even know what brand this is. I'll give you $2. And now you're relying on that person's desperation to sell the item. So, you get these programs, and I don't even know how good these programs are. I've never used the lister program yet. Maybe that'll change in the future, but as of yet, I have not. And it just seems like it's maybe given some, yeah, you're offering a service. I'm not going to knock it entirely. I just, look, and I don't want to come off, and I know I've been coming off as sort of a opponent of these AI listers. I'm really not. I'm just wanting it to make sense. So if the AI lister does everything that I want it to do for what I need it to do, then I suppose it could be worth something. But if I'm picking up, because generally I pick up like 40, 50 items a week. That's not a lot for a lot of people, but for what I sell, like this stuff is just, I'm just doing this. This has been sitting around the garage. This is not included in the calculations. This came into in a liquidation pallet. I wasn't expecting to get this drill. It's a skill, by the way. It's not Milwaukee, but it's a skill drill. I would pay. So if I pick up 50 decent items in a week, that's $25 I'd have to pay someone or but the thing is, you're still doing the work. See, that's the argument about it. No matter what, you're not taking the work entirely out of this game. I don't care what AI program comes out, you still have to take photos. Now, if you're the one that relies entirely on stock photos and don't take your own photos, well, you're getting yourself in a position where you may end up with an INAD. And we talk about INADs aren't fun, right? They suck. They hurt your account. And look, I have a hunch, and I can't give you any more than that because and nobody can give you any more than that as an answer. I have a hunch that if you get a bunch of negatives or you get a bunch of returns, that it does hurt you. It hurts you. Now, like I said, over the last, since the 5th, had a bunch of returns, guys, a bunch. And while it's a symptom of having a lot of sales, more sales means more opportunities for someone to say, hey, they don't like it or they just want to return it. But I really do believe those INADs, not necessarily to change your minds, you can't really control that as a seller, but eBay looks at it as, you know, you sent something to somebody that isn't what they expected, and therefore that's a bad experience, and you get too many of those. I do really feel like eBay is going to say, okay, let's just slow this person's roll a little bit, and let's kind of slow their game a little bit here because we don't want a bunch of these items going out that aren't right. That's not to say my sales went to zero. I had 4 days out of 5 which were $1,000 sales days. Never happened before to me. Not like that. Then Friday we came back with a $600 day, and Saturday we came back with a $320 day, and I'm recording this video on Sunday, so we're probably at like $150, $160. So the velocity isn't there. Now, I've been fighting with eBay. I say I've been fighting with eBay. eBay doesn't give a rat's ass, to be honest with you, but I've been fighting with eBay, sort of playing this game with eBay where I'm trying to grow my account, right? But eBay is trying to keep me in this mode of like, no, we're just going to maintain where you're at. We're going to let you sell all this stuff so you can get your stuff under 300. And I'm fine with it. I mean, what do we put our stuff on eBay for? And that lends the question, you know, I think as sellers, we want to gradually grow. We don't want to just blow up our stores. If you blow up your store, your 200 item store, 300 item store like me, and all of a sudden you end up with like 2,000 items overnight, well, that's generally going to translate into more sales, and eBay is going to say, oh, you're something's not right with this account. We got the bots will step in who don't use logic. Bots don't use common sense, and they will shut it down and treat you like you did something wrong. That's why you got to grow slowly. But for me, all I want to do is grow gradually, right? Because I'm not using AI. I'm just trying to gradually grow. But I guess it lends this question. If you're in this for the long haul as a seller and you're trying to grow your store gradually, maybe you have a goal for 1,000 items, maybe you have a goal for 10,000 items, whatever that goal is, are you comfortable with gradual growth? But if I was to tell you, you have an option. Steady sales along with steady growth, or overnight you're going to get like 80% of your stuff is going to sell. Now, I know that's the reason why we do this is to make money, but you get all your stuff sold and you made a pretty good chunk, right? But you only have a very, 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 very small store, and you got to kind of rebuild it again. Would you want that as a seller? Would you? Now, eBay doesn't want that. They want a consistent growing store. They don't want you to blow up your store, and they don't want you to sell all your stuff overnight. So I have not seen a case or any instance where even someone who's giving up, let's say someone's giving up and they're like, you know what, I'm blowing everything out at 75% off. I just want to get back what I paid for this stuff. You don't hear stories about them selling their stuff out overnight. I don't. And I think there's a reason for that. I think eBay will put a kibosh on like, okay, this is a little bit too much. we don't think the seller can handle this, and it's going to affect the buyer experience. You guys got to know that that is forefront on eBay's mind, and it should. It should. Can you imagine if eBay put, and this isn't about me going to eBay Open not wanting to be sat behind a potted plant, by the way, because that's probably going to happen no matter what I say. I'm not trying to kiss up to eBay, but again, I think we expect too much of eBay in that they provide a platform, right? They provide the traffic, which is why most of us are still here selling, but they cannot provide you a guarantee of sales. But at the same time, if you have the best product at the best price and it's just so hot, the boo-boos or whatever the hell they are, and you're selling them for like $10 a piece, eBay is going to slow the roll a little bit because they don't want that much action coming out of your account. In fact, if you have other competitors that are selling the same thing, they're going to share the wealth with some of those sellers. It makes sense because look, if you and I are all up against big sellers. I'm not a big seller. There's most people that are watching this, unless their first name is James, is not a big seller, and we're competing with those people, and I believe eBay knows that, and I believe that eBay is still in the business of trying to spread the wealth. They don't want to lose sellers because sellers just give up. Okay, all the big names, all the big companies who are equipped to handle large volumes of sales are getting all the action, and little old Jimmy over here is just not getting any action at all in his 100-item store. Jimmy's going to give up. If you're not making sales, you're going to give up. So eBay has a way of stringing us along into staying on the platforms, remaining hopeful, like, oh, I just got a couple sales, things are going to get better, and you kind of continue to do things, and maybe sometimes they don't, but it's sort of a brilliant way. I hate to say that, but it's sort of a brilliant way to keep smaller sellers sort of on the hook and staying on the platform by throwing them a bone once in a while. And again, eBay doesn't make the sale, but they can give you more exposure than you probably deserve based on your account health. Now, most people think, hey, I deserve to be on page 1 in the top 10 spots, but that's just not how it works. We can want and think we deserve all we want, but if we're not building our stores, if we're not competitive, if we're not doing all the things, well, not all, but most of the things that eBay's asking us to do, then that could explain why we're not getting the kind of volume that we're wanting, right? We think we are owed somehow this volume. The sales that I got over the last week, man, outstanding. And then I see a little drop off, and it's like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to where I was a month ago. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I guess here I am getting greedy, but I want to grow. I see when I grow my store from 200 items to 300 items, I see the increase in velocity. I see when I change to free returns, I see the increase in velocity. And an increase in velocity is going to be an increase in everything, guys. It's going to be an increase in returns. It's going to be whether you have free returns on or not. Just an increase in sales velocity is going to increase your returns. It's going to increase your customer service requirements where buyers reach out to you. The larger you grow your store, the more items there are for people to see and ask questions about. And frankly, the larger you grow your store and the faster you try to list these items, even with the assistance of AI, because I've seen it. I haven't used it, but I've seen it. I've seen the listings. These listings still don't answer a lot of customer questions. They might give a 2-paragraph, like, hey, here's how fluffy this item is. But if a buyer's like, okay, that's nice and all, but I don't know if this is going to work with this, or I don't know if this is made for that, because maybe AI isn't very complete. Because I got to tell you, right now is football season. Don't know how many of you guys out there play fantasy football, but we have the most outstanding killer league that we've put together, fantasy football league that we put together back in, like, I'd say probably late 90s when I was working in Amtrak. It's AFFL, it's the Amtrak Fantasy Football League. And most of the employees are either former or still current Amtrak employees, but we've actually gained some players. Like, I signed up Biscuit Butt. He's one of the teams. We have 14 teams, and I am one of the commissioners, and I'm helping. There's 3 commissioners to try to, if we have one commissioner that's trying to make all the decisions, and you're playing as a team as well, you can actually, it can seem like, well, yeah, it's kind of biased. You're making decisions in your favor. So we put a lot of that out of play, and we have 3 commissioners, and we have to have a majority rule, that kind of thing. But we also help each other set up the league, and part of the setup is getting a draft list of all the football players that are going to be eligible for the draft, and we have to get it for the other owners. And it's been a painstaking thing to go through it manually, and like type in the data entry and all this stuff into an Excel spreadsheet. And my buddy Dwayne, one of the commissioners, was like, yeah, I'm going to start working on it. I'm like, wait, let's let AI get in here and help us with this so we don't have to do all this work. And while I thought it was going to be a quick thing, it took me literally 2 days with AI to get it right. And what I noticed is AI, when it is having connection issues to like a website, like I pointed it to a website, I even gave it screenshots of, here's the data I want you to use, and here's what I want you to do with the data. And it's like some of the times it like made shit up. Like, where did you get these numbers? I was asking it, where did you get these numbers? All I want you to do is copy these numbers. I'm not asking you to do anything else. And AI wants so badly, when they can't read a file, or they want to give you, it's like they want to make you happy. So they want to find an answer, even though they may not have the right one. They will improvise. I don't want to say lie, because they're just trying to make you, the end user, happy, and will make stuff up. And I'm like asking them, where did you get this? Oh, it kept apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry that you're frustrated that you didn't get the right answer. I see. You want just the data. And it would go on and it would do the same damn thing again. So then I realized that I had to really get in and narrow down the data. So instead of taking a huge spreadsheet of data and saying, okay, I want you to take these 2 columns and take that data and don't worry about the rest of the stuff, you have to actually just show the 2 columns. You can't give it extra information because it gets confused. I'm telling you right now, guys, AI is not yet 100% ready for prime time. I'm telling you. And because of that, listings are going to be somewhat fluffy, but not complete. They're not going to, give you a comprehensive list of things that this part may be compatible with, or it may not give you a complete rundown on what this thing is able to do. Ever go to Best Buy or Amazon and see like the bulleted points that show all the things that your item does? That's the way your listing should look. It shouldn't look like a paragraph, because buyers don't want to read. If they want to read, they'll go to a damn library. They'll go on their favorite vlog and start reading or whatever. People don't want to read. Okay, this is the world we live in today. And the idea that these AI listers are giving a paragraph or 2 is kind of a narrow mindset. I mean, yeah, you're filling your listing. Maybe they're just trying to game the system by just filling those listings with keywords, additional keywords, and I'm for that. But again, this is about buyer conversion. So you have a listing that's not complete, and you do not have all the information in a easily readable way, that buyer's going to go away. But if they're looking for an answer and they see it in a bullet form and they say, oh, okay, bullet number 3, that's exactly what I have. Okay, this is going to work for me. There's no question about it. And I know we all assume that buyers don't read. I know we sometimes focus on that 5 or 10% of bad buyers who just are inept as hell. But a lot of our buyers, they do read, and it is very important that we get as much information in the mix. So I don't know, guys. I'm just sort of kind of on the outside looking in with this whole AI thing. I'm very excited about AI, but I just think there's so many things that AI is doing wrong right now that, if you run through 100 listings, 200 listings, 500 listings, 1,000 listings, how many of those listings are going to contain errors? How many of those listings are going to make you scratch your head and go, is it worth it? When you actually go through 1,000 listings and do the checking on this, maybe take you a couple hours, you're still saving time that versus listing 1,000 items. But is the time worth the errors, the number of errors? I am very thorough when I make my listings, which is why I'm probably a very slow lister, because I want to make sure the data is right. And even with good data, I'm still I'm still getting some inads because of the problems with the items. It has nothing to do with the listings. I did everything I was supposed to do. I'm not going to go buy a car just to try to install an item. That's stupid. It's just sometimes you're dealing with things that you got to be willing to take a risk, and I'm willing to take a risk, and I know that I can get some inads. It's not going to hurt my account all that much. But at the same time, what can I do? I can get my listings to where they're 100% correct. At least, I make errors once in a while, but as correct as I can get them, and done in such a way where it helps my buyer conversion rate. So I don't know what you guys think on that, but I'm going to continue going that road. Will I use AI? Certainly. At some point I will use AI, but it has to make sense for what I'm doing. I see AI in its current form, and if I have to provide the category to AI, instead of having it do that for me, it's not going to work for an everything seller, because I'm not going to batch 2 items out of 50, and then 3 items out of 50, and another 5 items out of. I'm not going through all that, and I'm not going to count how many photos. If I need to take 8 for this kind of an item, if I might take only 6 for these pair of shorts, I might take 8 for this, and I don't want to think about it. I want AI to be able to see the difference between these items. I want them to count the photos for me, and I want them to be able to do all the things that AI should be doing, and I don't see yet in its current form how AI is doing that for anyone. So that's where I'm going to leave it right now. I hope there's something that I said in this message that resonated with somebody, but yeah, AI is here to stay, guys, but it's just, is it ready? I don't necessarily think it's ready for prime time just yet. Now, we'll see if what programs roll out, but I'm on the fence. I remain on the fence. I may seem like a pessimist with AI. I'm not. I just want to make sure it's done. I want to make sure it's ready for my business. I'm not going to make my business ready for it, and neither should you. That's my advice, guys. If AI fits your model in its current form, by all means, knock yourself out. Just don't go crazy with it. But if your business is tailored a lot like mine, where you're not really, it's not really working for your business, why would you tailor your business for AI that's constantly improving when, the program that you can use that's going to work for your business may be just around the corner? And that's me telling you this, not knowing what's coming out. There are others that are coming out, and I do have some idea of what that is, but I don't know what it's going to look like. But at some point, in a year from now, what's AI going to look like with some of these listers? I'm hopeful that there's going to be bigger and better ones that are coming, just because with the way AI grows very, very, very fast, that some of these tasks that we're currently asking it to do, or maybe feeling like we can't ask it to do because there's no feature or function in some of these listing programs, it will be possible very, very soon. And rather than change all my processes, I am going to wait for the right one. So what you guys do with it is up to you. But hopefully, if you guys got this far in the video, thank you. Hit the like button on your way out. And of course, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. But deciding how you're going to use this new technology, well, it's yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. Want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day, and we will talk to you here very soon. Sourcing great items is the key to
within your control. Hang with flipping ain't easy. Let's roll. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast. Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and Josh, flipping's more than a game. All resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them.